So remember this one time that Tumi was supposed to do a video on her own, right? It was supposed to be her like asexuality video where she was gonna open up about what it's like to be her, and her sexuality. But then she got nervous and anxiety was just always on 100. So we decided to make it more fun and inclusive, meaning me in it. Right, so it's gonna be an interview where I'm gonna be asking this beautiful person next to me about asexuality in general. Questions I've always had, questions I found from random people on the internet, and to keep the nerves down because we're gonna use baking.
You can't say things like
I'll bleep it out.
Okay.
The power bleeps. Okay? We're gonna be baking because she loves to bake. If you don't know, you have a whole Instagram. Is that still alive?
No, girl.
Okay. Had an Instagram where she do baking stuff because y'all weren't supporting my girl. I'm joking. She just gave up. But that's what we're gonna be doing. She's gonna be making me lemon meringue because she loves
No, it's not
me.
lemon meringue. It's a lemon squares.
Lemon square. Lemon
you
bars.
hate lemon meringue.
I do.
Oh,
I don't like
flavor?
meringue
You're so
in general.
nervous.
I'm sweating.
You are.
Comfort me.
Nasty.
Okay, yeah. So Lemon Bars was to having an asexual interview. Interview with the Asexual. Do you guys watch Interview with a Vampire? Watch it. Amazing. Best thing ever. Okay, yeah. Interview with the Asexual. Take one. The recipe we'll be using is from a fellow member of the Alphabet Mafia, Preppy Kitchen. That's where we get most of our recipes for baking. Do you know he has other things that aren't just baking?
What do you mean?
Yeah, he has food.
Oh,
I know, we should try that. Oh, I like the way that you added it.
It was a mistake. But I was like,
Is
it's
the
kind
other
of
side
cute.
the same?
No.
I'm so sorry.
But
It's
you're
really pretty.
right. I was like, okay, it's stylish.
Okay, I'm gonna be doing the one duty I always do when
Yeah.
we're making lemon bars, which is squeezing the lemons.
Yeah, I don't have what we call power.
Yeah, but I do from our activities. Okay, question one. Are you ready?
Wait, let's figure out what we're doing first before.
Okay, so how do you define asexuality, my baby? Answer. It's an interview. It's supposed to be cool.
Okay, okay. How do I define asexuality? Okay, so, asexuality is... Should I start with the butter? Is that what I usually do?
No.
So asexuality is essentially the lack of sexual attraction. Yeah.
That's it? Is that what it is to you?
I don't know. I mean, no, I'm so serious. I don't know because a lot of the times I think I'm faking it. Like I'm not really. No, it's true. I honestly am not even convinced like completely that I'm asexual.
Okay, but what makes you think that you are?
What makes me think that I am? I guess it's such a.
I should mention that Tumi is very bad at multitasking, so this was a bad idea. In retrospect, she was so bad at this.
Right, okay, let me figure out first. So first I must use flour and. Okay, so what was the question again?
How do you know? Like, what makes you put that label on yourself? Since you're saying like, oh, you feel like you're faking sometimes. What does it feel like the times you don't feel like you're faking?
Can I tell you how I realized I was asexual?
Yes.
I think that would be easier to follow.
Yeah.
So like, I think it was back when we were living at that one place with your friend. Remember her apartment?
Yeah.
Yes. And at that time she used to like being around us a lot. So annoying. And you're just. So she liked being around us quite a bit.
I mean, did it help?
Oh, that's not small. Wait, don't. I must know how much I must put. 66 grams. Alright. So at that time, she's not actually relevant for this one. So I think one day we were walking around, going to Pick and Pay, and you saw someone, and they were attractive, I think. I think they were attractive. I think they were conventionally attractive. And you mentioned how you were attracted to them, right? I think we were just having a conversation in general or the person was a basis for that conversation.
Mm.
And I realized at that point whilst we were talking that you mean like when you look at someone, you think, I want to fuck them, right?
Yeah.
And I realized at that point that I don't look at people and think, I want to fuck them.
Mm.
Right? Because I look at people and I'm like, oh, these people are like conventionally attractive, or like this person is very pretty, or oh, I like the way they're dressed, or oh, they sound nice, they smell good. Like I can think of people in those terms, but to look at someone and be like, yeah, I wanna stick boop beep beep in my beep, you know, like.
So you
I don't
don't
think that.
sexualize people.
Yeah, I don't think of people sexually.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Do you? Is that like always, or is it like?
No. No, that it's not always like that. So that's why I'm saying I'm not exactly sure that I would label myself asexual.
I mean, if you're asexual, because I was reading somewhere when I was preparing for this interview so diligently that you don't. It's not like you're always switched off.
Yeah. It's a
For
spectrum.
lack of a better term.
So I guess what I was trying to define asexuality was like, it's the lack of attraction, sexual attraction to people, and that can be in various degrees. So some people just feel like no sexual attraction like ever, and some people feel like mild forms of sexual attraction to people. And so it's like it's a spectrum essentially. I would define myself as gray sexual, like to be specific, which means that I sometimes feel sexual attraction, but it's like very rare.
Okay, so what I'm understanding this is you do have sexual attraction sometimes, right? What does it feel like when you have sexual attraction? Because I guess when I look at someone and I am sexually attracted to them, I'm like, oh, I want to chase that tail. Right? It gets exciting. Like I get all warm and stuff. Like my feet get all fuzzy. Like that's how I feel. How do you feel how do you identify like, oh, I'm feeling sexual attraction towards this person? Is it like a physical reaction? Is it more mental?
That's such a good question.
Are you having an existential crisis?
Yes.
Should we go to the next question? No,
because I'm thinking about because I feel like I should have the answer to this, right? Like,
I mean, it's your body.
It
so...
is. I guess for me, it's like. I think it's more like. I think when okay, let me talk, and if I'm talking out of my ass, just delete it immediately. Don't even include this.
Right.
But I guess let me say when it comes to like men, or at least men, I guess it's for a while. I think I want to have a baby. Let's procreate.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Interesting. Okay. Oh, that's very interesting. All right. And when it's
women.
Yeah.
It's more like, please love me. But like through my body.
Ooh, that's so good.
No,
Rupika. What's her name? Rupika Urka. I forgot her name.
I don't know what to do with the salt. Have you ever eaten lemon and salt?
No. Why would I be eating lemon and salt? She puts chicken spice on oranges and stuff, all citrus fruit. She wants chicken spice.
No, it's I use chicken spice. It's because when I was younger, and everybody was like eating like lemon, like because it's a normal thing. Like, you eat lemon and like spice, like
it's a normal thing.
It's a normal thing.
All right.
Like they'd have like my friends would have like these bags with like mixed spices and they're really spicy. But because I live in a household, or I lived in a household where my father didn't know or didn't care for seasoning, all we had was chicken spice. So I would never invite my friends over to like eat mangoes and stuff.
Because all I had was
chicken spice. But low key, I think I discovered something really great because I low key think that it tastes better than the other spices they had.
I do not. I think fruit should just be eaten as fruit. I don't spice my fruit. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So men, you see them more as like, oh, put a baby in me. And then with women or female people, feminine energies, you feel more like, oh, love me, intimately.
I just sometimes look at you and I'm like, put a baby in me, girl.
Okay. All right. Okay. So do you identify arousal and attraction as like two separate things?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, what's the difference between arousal and attraction?
Arousal is like, a physiological like response to like stimulation,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like you watch porn, right? And then you feel like, ooh, your body just does it on its own. Like it's not something you have to think about.
Mm.
And attraction is more about like how you feel towards people, I guess.
So porn stars not people? I'm joking.
No,
I'm
no,
joking. I'm
no.
listening.
I would watch porn and be stimulated. Sure, I would
Mm.
get horny, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I look at those people and I'm sexually attracted to them specifically.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I get it. I get it
Yeah.
now. All right. So when you
I missed that.
what did you put it on in this in that? There we
It's
go.
not.
Nice. Okay. Okay. You mentioned porn, right?
Yeah.
Is that how you watch porn? Is it just a matter of what? Okay. This is how I think asexuality works. Right. It's like you don't feel any sexual anything. Like you don't feel horny. You don't feel nothing, and
I mean,
then but you're coming here and you're like, oh, you watch porn and then you feel horny. Do you feel horny and then you go and watch porn, or do you watch porn and then you feel horny?
it depends.
Mm.
Like, first of all, there are people who don't watch porn, don't want sex, nothing. Like,
Yeah, I'm
they,
not
they
talking
don't want
about
that.
you, right?
Okay, well, me,
Mm.
it's more like it can be both because there are moments. I haven't even mixed it yet.
It looks good
Oh,
though.
it looks that that's good. I
Yeah.
like. There are moments where, like, sometimes I'll be like, okay, it's late at night, I want to sleep.
Should I mix it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes I'll wake up. No, what am I saying? Sometimes, sometimes it's like late at night and I want
Yeah.
to sleep, but I can't fall asleep, right?
Mhm.
And like the best way to like pass out is just to come.
Facts.
So I'll be like, okay, I want to masturbate right now.
Mhm.
So I'll watch something stimulating,
Mhm.
right? And then I'll watch more.
Mhm.
And then sometimes it'll be a thing of like, oh shit,
Doesn't that go in the butter?
it goes into both. It does, but it messes up everything now. I'm so upset.
Should I use my hands?
No, start like that first. And then you can use your hands at the end. What was I saying? And then sometimes I am like aroused, like usually during like my ovulation, and I think, okay, let me watch some porn to just get things going along, like get things going quicker. So those are the moments I watch porn. Was that the question?
I was trying to figure out like, can you trick your brain into like wanting sex, like because I know your moments and the signs that like when you're really moody. I know that it's been a while and you need to release some energies. So can you like? But sometimes you don't want to be touched in those moments. Can you? And then you're like, oh, I'm having sex. It's because I'm having my asexual moment, and you really won't want to have sex, but it would make you feel better, or like you said, it will make you sleep if you want to sleep. So can you trick your brain into wanting to into having sex or enjoying sex rather?
Yeah, I it's such a loaded question. I think.
Really, I thought these questions were simple.
Right? Because it's not as straightforward as it will sound when I say it. Like the answer is like yes,
Can I
no.
use my hand?
Yeah, you can.
Uh-huh.
Because I do sometimes like I said with the first example of like I want to sleep and I just want to come. Like I can force myself in that sense. But there are times when I just can't do it. Like I'll go days and I'll just be like I'll like it doesn't matter if I'm stimulated or not. I just don't want to because I'm feeling very sex repulsed.
Okay.
Right. So I don't want anything to do with like sex or physical intimacy in a sense. Like it bothers me a lot. So it varies. Sometimes I can do it. Sometimes I'm like whatever. Sometimes I want it. For the most part, I'm like indifferent.
You're indifferent to sex, so you're okay like having it.
Yeah.
Don't act like it. I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay. Oh yes. This one was an important one. We have a few videos where you're explaining that you're actually bisexual.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not trying to put a cap on how many identities people can claim, right?
Okay.
But I feel like doesn't that cancel out? Like, how can you be bisexual and asexual? I don't know. It doesn't really make sense.
I guess for the most part, like I rarely use like these words as like definite, like definers of my sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you don't make sense.
Definers of asexuality.
I don't usually. I'm so upset. Don't eat.
Okay,
Don't
okay.
eat.
I'll stop.
Salmonella. Oh my god. Or
We're not in
something.
America.
Ugh. What was I saying?
Defining
Yeah,
asexuality.
I don't usually use them as like definite definers of my sexuality. I usually use them as like umbrella terms.
Mhm.
So what do you need?
You want to put it in the middle?
I put it in like for the term but asexual. Like I call myself asexual, but I'm more like gray sexual, but I'm not really certain. So I'd just rather use asexual as an umbrella term for whatever goes on in my head, right? And for bisexual, it's more like biromantic, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
But for those few moments where I am feeling some sort of sexual attraction, it can go either ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, any gender is really cool, so I don't mind anyway. So that's why I guess I use the term bisexual.
To mean by romantic, rather.
Both.
Okay, so it's kind of like you're sex repulsed by both, and you are also sexually attracted to both.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but I'm the best one.
Yeah.
How do you think being raised as like a woman, kind of interacted with your asexuality?
I mean, I think it's probably like being raised a woman and being raised like a straight woman is also kind of the reason why it took so long for me to realize that I'm bi.
Uh-huh.
Because I think you're expected to be like sexually passive,
Yes.
right? So
Uh-huh.
I thought my passiveness towards sex was just me being a woman. Oof. Instead of just like being like, hey, I don't think you're attracted to any of these people you're having sex with. Or I don't think you actually enjoy like or are attracted to them or want to do this. Like, do you really want to have sex with these people? And I think for the most part, I'd be like, no, not really.
Mm.
So I think that's just really the biggest effect. It's just it took me a while to realize that I was asexual and two that I was bi. Because yeah.
Interesting. So it like the heterosexual female culture of just being expecting never to be sexually satisfied.
Yeah.
Kind of made you feel normal actually with
Yeah.
your asexuality. So now that you are in a non-heterosexual relationship and you are enjoying sex, has that ever caused like a conflict in your identity when you're like, oh, I'm asexual, because you've discovered that you're asexual in this relationship you're having the most sex in,
Yeah.
but then you want to keep having sex. So what was it like dealing with that conflict of like liking sex and not knowing if you should? It's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 100.
Should I take some out?
I mean, at first it was really weird because I kept like chastising myself essentially for liking sex. Like I just felt like I wasn't really asexual, right? Like I couldn't believe that I was asexual because I had so much sex, and I enjoyed it like all the time, right? So that was like the main issue. But overall, I think after doing like research and stuff, I realized that asexual people, some do enjoy having sex, so I didn't need to feel guilty about it anymore. It's just that I think what I was most feeling guilty about was the fact that I don't feel sexually attracted to you the same way you feel sexually attracted to me.
Yeah.
Like you've noticed, like you'll touch me and you'll like hold me and stuff, and I'll just be like, what are you doing? But when I do that to you, you react, and I think it can be like super weird being with someone asexual because the way you perceive like desire and attraction
Yeah.
is really different from the way I do. So I don't know, like I felt guilty about that instead. But I mean, now I think we're okay. So
Yeah, I think okay. So do you think what is the importance of identifying as asexual?
importance.
Yeah, like you're in a relationship that you enjoy having sex in, and like why do you feel the need to identify as asexual still? Like,
I mean, being with you, not being with you, doesn't change the fact that I'm asexual,
true.
right? Like just because
Yeah, but what does it do for you identifying as asexual?
it's communication. Like I said, because if I didn't know I was asexual,
Mm.
I could have read my lack of attraction as me not being in love with you,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Or anyone that I was in a relationship with. I would have been like, I'm not sexually attracted to, therefore I don't love you.
True.
So that's why it's important, because separating those two things has made it easier for me to recognize, like acknowledge my own feelings, and also kind of understand how I love as well. So I don't have to be frustrated because I feel a little different, because I I know what those feelings mean, or lack thereof.
Okay. Yeah. I get it. So you do love me? Okay. Good. Just checking. Need to check up on that. Do I have any other questions? Okay, what would your one piece of advice be to like a sexual person who's dating someone who is asexual?
I don't think I can stay. The ball is too sharp.
Okay, let me do these
I'm
six
not
first. Then
done.
we'll add the other two.
Would that be messy?
It's messy already.
Okay. Advice? I mean, I feel like that's more like your area, because you're the one who's sexual.
I mean, okay. Looking back, what is the one thing you wish you would have told me in those beginning days as you're exploring your asexuality to just help the transition? Because it wasn't easy coming to terms with this. So
Really?
what would you say?
I mean, I'd like to hear from you.
It's your interview. You don't ask the
But-
interviewee.
Yeah, but this is our channel.
Okay, so what's your question?
I guess, what was it like for you in the beginning, I guess?
When you started saying you're asexual? I mean, I was confused because, like I said, I used to think that asexual meant that you don't want to have any sex whatsoever. And for me, sex is a big part of a relationship. Like, huge. It's enormous, you know. And I was enjoying doing this activity with you specifically. You know, I don't want to do it with anyone else. So I was just confused, and I thought that, oh, you don't find me attractive anymore. Is this thing where when your partner comes and tells you something, you find a way to make it about you, and like, oh, so you don't want to have sex with me anymore because you're asexual. But that's not what you were saying. You were just saying I'm asexual even though I am having sex with you, and it's gonna be different. I can't always feel like having sex with you, right? But I do want to. Oh, what about those times when you want to have sex, right? But your body is just like, actually, no, I don't wanna.
It depends.
How do you cope with that?
Sometimes I convince myself to have sex.
Oh, don't know trick guys.
Sure.
The trick to get somebody in the
No,
mood.
put it in here. We're not done.
But I can't. Okay, yeah. Should I tell them the trick?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, this is obviously with consent. You know, I don't have to say that. It's so
You
loud
don't.
when you do it on the table. Why don't you just do it on the bowl?
You see, now you've ruined my egg.
I've ruined your egg. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me for ruining your egg.
Ooh.
Did you get a shot?
There we go.
Yeah.
See? Didn't hurt you.
Okay, a trick when you want to get your partner in the vibe and she's not feeling it is you just cup her area down there. You
A
just
cooch.
cup the cooch. You know, grab them by. Donald Trump was right.
No.
It's a joke.
No, it's not funny.
It's not funny. It is not funny. How disrespectful. I'm sorry. Please don't cancel. But yeah, just cup, and it just, that warmth that's generated from cupping the cooch, I don't know, it just makes you feel nice and warm, and it loosens up the juices and gets somebody in the mood. Not always, obviously. There are times when she's like in hard ace mode. And there's nothing I can do. Like, she doesn't want me to cuddle up or do anything, hey? She just wants to read her BL mangas, which are very sexual. Yes, on top of that, how do you... Because I feel like I'm a sexual person, but I don't consume as much sexual content as you do in terms of, like, media, any form of media. I actually avoid sexual media as much as possible because it arouses me and I don't want to be aroused all the time, right? But you consume, like, really graphic... BL smart content, whether it's reading or pictures or just you really like love this stuff. Like, how do you how does that work? I don't even know how to ask the question. But like, how does your mind reconcile what you're reading and watching, and how does it make you feel, especially when you're experiencing at those sex repulsive moments?
Um,
Is
I
it enough?
mean, I feel like, yeah, that's enough. Just, I mean, you can risk it here. I always start with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like it depends because I feel like you're talking like all I read is sexual.
In the last month, name one book you've read that's not sexual.
The one I'm reading right now,
How many books have you read?
a lot.
There we go. Okay.
But there's been
A
others
lot out
besides.
of one. Thank you. Sorry. Continue. Continue answering your question.
Um, but I guess I I find it fun. I think for me because sex is like I think it's because I don't know, I grew up in a very not conservative per se. But like when you're growing up as a kid you're not really supposed to be like um watching anything like graphic or sexual in nature.
Mm.
But I've always been like interested in like the act of coital activity. Just I think it's fascinating when people do these things. So I enjoy like for me it's not something taboo. It's just part of the story because humans copulate,
True.
right? Do I specifically go for things like that? Sometimes, because I think it's fun. I enjoy seeing people being intimate.
But when you're feeling like sex repulsed, does it ever like prevent you from enjoying the story? Should I put it in?
Not necessarily. I'll just like it. I don't. Yeah, go ahead. It doesn't necessarily have to happen. Wait, did I put the vanilla?
Yes.
It
Twice.
doesn't really.
Yes.
Okay, that's terrible. Because it doesn't have to be when I'm sex repulsed. Like sometimes I'll just not watch, not read anything smutty. I'll just skip over the parts. Like it's not important to the plot. But sometimes I do. I don't mind reading and seeing and stuff. So it's like it's not really my asexuality. I don't think it really matters in this sense. Besides the fact that I don't get aroused as much.
It's just a part of the story.
Yeah, it's a part of the story.
Guys, if you saw these stories she's talking about, please don't be fooled by her demeanor. It's actually very, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, what one piece of advice to asexual people would you give who are dating sexual persons or not dating?
Don't easier said than done, but don't like beat yourself up for it. Like if you don't want to have sex, if you don't enjoy it, that's fine. Honestly, who cares? Like you don't need it. You don't need to feel bad about it. That's about it.
How do you like initiate the conversation? Like, how did you manage to like sit down and talk to me about it? Like,
I don't even think we had that kind of conversation, to be honest, because I feel like I just brought it up one day and I was like, oh, I think this is what's happening to me. I guess
were you afraid?
no.
That's good. Yeah.
I wasn't. I don't know because I guess I was. I guess it's different because I would be more afraid if I didn't understand what was happening to me than when I realized like, oh, this is what's going on with my sexuality. Like once I understood it, I think all that anxiety of not knowing just kind of left my body. So it's just easier to talk to you about it because I was like, granted you're like my best friend, so I can talk to you about anything. But yeah, it was just easy to talk to. I guess this is not helping.
No, it's not helping.
It's not helping at all.
We need like a 1-2 step of like, okay, I'm ace and I want to open up to my partner about, about this.
But
How do I go about it?
I mean, I would say first of all, get acquainted with these terms, and stuff, so you know what you're talking about. I guess so you can better explain because there's a difference between sexual attraction, sexual arousal, and desire, kind of, right? Because some people feel attraction, some people don't, but they can also be aroused, and they might have the desire to act on that, and some might not feel the need to act on those needs, right? So understanding that can make it easier to kind of explain to your partner and what that means for them. And it also doesn't mean like you can't have deep intimate relationships with people. Like ace people have, not just ace people, but mostly, for the most part, ace people have queer platonic relationships, which aren't necessarily sexual or romantic in nature. Not damn, girl.
Then talk to us, my love.
Don't blush me.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not sexual or romantic in nature. You can kind of just like make them into whatever they are. They're like not romantic, but they're not strictly platonic. It's like, I don't want to say in the middle, because I don't think that's accurate. But yeah,
So just communicate, basically.
essentially,
As usual. As per usual.
that's pretty usual.
Communicate. A. B. C. Oh gosh, what if I'd come down with me? That little couple that came perfect. And people mark them down because of that and they didn't like them.
I mean, we're eating.
Let's not be those people.
Oh, sorry.
Manners, I think. I don't really care.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot to say. I don't have much help. Etc.
Okay, how can I better support you with your asexuality?
I mean, just don't, not particularly you specifically, but don't pressure people into having sex in general. Like, if you can tell that someone isn't like in the mood for something, don't try force it on them. Like, don't try make them feel guilty about not wanting to have sex. I think that's the worst thing you can possibly do to someone who's ace. Maybe not the worst thing, but one of the worst things. Because and saying stuff like, you don't love me because you don't want to have sex with me. Like, that's not true, you know? I do. I love you so much.
So that.
No, I'm sure there's more things, but I can't.
But that's the most important. That's the most
Yes.
important one. That's the vital one.
I think so.
Okay. So do you feel supported in this relationship? With your asexuality?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
For the
Sometimes.
most part.
Yeah, I feel you sometimes. I'm
Oh,
sorry
yeah,
about
all the
that.
time.
But I try my best.
You do a lot.
Because I love you.
Oh.
Okay, this is going to take forever to finish.
Hopefully we can share the
So-
results though.
If you want to see the results, follow us on Instagram.
No, I was just gonna take a video thing.
Follow us on Instagram. That's where we're going to post the results because we need to diversify where you guys see us. As we've learned, these things can just...
But yeah, it was just like a casual. But I do want to show them the
Okay.
end result.
We'll show you the end results at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. We do have another Q&A that we asked you. We asked you guys for the questions, and now you guys are waiting for the answers. We appreciate that. We will get back to you. Thank you so much for 3,000. Crazy. And anything else? We should have like an outro, like a saying, or like a handshake or something. This is our handshake. Let's show you. Let's show you.
I
guys.
forgot.
That's it. We just hit pinkies and then we kiss thumbs.
No, remember?
Oh, and then we hold hands. Yeah, that's our handshake. Sorry, it's not fancy, but we're building on it. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And here are the results.